Space had not known silence like this in centuries. The dark edge of the Varel system was a dead zone. No light, no trade, no life. Only drifting ice and old wreckage floated through the frozen emptiness. No ship ever stayed there for long. It was said the region swallowed signals and memory alike. But tonight, something changed. On the mining vessel Lura 9, a young technician named Tessa Vaughn leaned closer to her flickering console. Her eyes widened as a faint pulse appeared on her radar. Slow, repeating, and unmistakably artificial. "Captain," she whispered, "you need to see this." The captain, a weary alien named Goran Thor, grumbled as he stumped over. "Another phantom echo." "No, sir. This looks old. Human old." The bridge went quiet. The word human was not used lightly. Humanity was considered a myth, something from ancient stories told to frighten children. The Death Worlders, the monsters from a blue planet that supposedly destroyed itself long before the Council era. "Run it again," Goran ordered. Tessa replayed the signal. The sound was faint, like a heartbeat lost in deep water. Then, through the static, came a voice. Rough, metallic, but clear enough to send chills through everyone on the bridge. "This is Fleet Command Earth, returning home." Goran froze. The miners exchanged frightened glances. The words repeated again, slow and cold, like something ancient remembering how to speak. "This is Fleet Command Earth, returning home." "Shut it off," Goran snapped. "Now." Tessa hesitated. "Sir, we should report it." "I said shut it off." But even as she reached for the controls, the lights dimmed. The ship's sensors began to flicker, screens turning to static. Something vast and dark appeared on the radar, an object the size of a city. Then another, and another. Multiple contacts, Tessa gasped, moving from deep orbit. "They are." Her voice trailed off as the first silhouette came into view through the observation glass. A colossal shape emerged from the shadows, a warship, kilometers long, its hull scarred but intact. Symbols in an ancient Terran language glowed faintly across its side. "Impossible," Goran whispered. As the vessel drifted closer, the Lura 9 systems locked up completely. Their engines shut down, their lights died, and their comms went dead. The air filled with a low hum, deep enough to make their bones vibrate. Then, silence again. The massive ship passed them by, silent as a tomb, heading toward the galactic core. Behind it, dozens more followed, some dark and broken, others alive with hidden energy. A fleet. The crew of the Lura 9 didn't move. No one breathed. Every instinct screamed at them to stay invisible. Finally, Tessa whispered, "They called Earth a myth." "Not anymore," Goran replied, his voice trembling. Hours later, panic rippled through the Galactic Council. The signal from the Forgotten Sector had reached them through emergency channels. Hundreds of species gathered in the high chamber, arguing and shouting over one another. "Earth is a fairy tale," one senator barked. "This is clearly a trick, some pirate transmission." But a scientist from the Core Research Division played the recording again. Every frequency, every modulation was analyzed. The results silenced the room. "It's authentic," the scientist said. "Terran origin, 600 years old." The coordinates matched the human exodus paths recorded in the Forbidden Archives. The council president, an ancient being named Vela Prime, slowly rose. "If the message is real," he said, "then what has returned to our galaxy?" No one answered. Meanwhile, on a remote moon station, a lone historian named Dr. Cyril Corrin stared at the data feed. His forehands shook as he studied the waveform. He had spent his life researching lost species, and humanity was his greatest obsession. Every archive said the same. Earth was unstable, unfit for life. Yet somehow, its people had thrived, born in storms, surviving extinction after extinction. Then, one day, they simply vanished. Some said they fled. Others claimed they were wiped out. Now the ghost had spoken again. Corrin leaned back, whispering to himself. "Fleet Command Earth, returning home." He shivered. But home to what? Back in the Varel system, the Lura 9 drifted powerless among giants. The fleet had moved on, but its shadow still covered them. Slowly, the ship's power returned. Consoles flickered back to life. Tessa ran diagnostics, her hands shaking. "Engines back online," she said. "We can leave." "Do it," Gorn said quickly. But before they could jump, a final transmission hit their comm array. Direct, targeted, and undeniable. "To all who hear this, your silence has lasted long enough. The children of Earth have returned. Prepare the way." The message repeated 3 times, then vanished. Tessa turned toward her captain. "Should we send this to the Council?" Gorn hesitated, then nodded. "Send it. Every world must know. The myths are awake." As the Lyra 9 jumped to light speed, the camera feed caught one last glimpse of the ancient warships moving across the stars. Their formation was perfect, their engines glowing with steady power, and painted on the side of the lead ship, just visible before it vanished into the dark, were the faded words. UNS Titan, Earth Fleet Command. The message would reach the galaxy within hours, and by the next sunrise, fear would spread faster than light itself. Because the legends of the Death Worlders, those unstoppable humans of a burning blue world, were not just stories anymore. They were real, and they were coming home. The Galactic Council met in emergency session before dawn. Every holoscreen across the chamber showed the same thing, the recording from the Lyra 9. The massive ships, the voice that echoed through the void, and that one sentence that shook every corner of known space. "This is Fleet Command Earth, returning home." For centuries, humanity had been a rumor, a dark legend told to remind young species of what happens when power goes unchecked. But now the myth had become a moving shadow, hundreds of ships crossing dead space in perfect silence. The Council President, Vila Prime, stood before the assembly, his silver skin reflecting the blue light of the holograms. "If this is real," he said slowly, "we may be facing the most dangerous force the galaxy has ever known." A voice rose from the crowd, or the most misunderstood. It was Dr. Cyril Corin, the historian who had spent his life searching for traces of humanity. His voice was calm, but his eyes were filled with fear. "The human fleet could be returning for answers," he said, "or for justice. We should not provoke them." "Justice?" one counselor scoffed. "The humans destroyed themselves. They burned their world and vanished." Corin stared at the hologram of the massive ships drifting through the dark. "Then how do you explain this?" No one replied. Far away, beyond the reach of normal space, the fleet moved like ghosts through the night. Each ship was ancient yet alive, engines glowing with energy no one could identify, hulls scarred by battles older than recorded history. Some vessels were as long as continents, others as small as frigates. But all flew under the same emblem, the faded symbol of Earth Fleet Command. Deep inside the largest ship, the UNS Titan, a single figure stood before a dim control panel. Her uniform was gray, her face marked with time and battle. Admiral Rhys Solon had once been a young officer when the human exodus began. Now, centuries later, she was awake again, her body preserved in cryostasis, her mind still sharp as iron. "Status," she said quietly. A deep voice answered from the console. It belonged to Argus, the ship's central AI, an ancient artificial intelligence that had guided humanity across forgotten galaxies. "Fleet synchronization complete. All ships operational. Long-range scans show multiple civilizations active in the core sectors. Galactic Council still exists." Rhea closed her eyes. "Then the galaxy survived." "Yes, Admiral, but their records erased all mention of humanity." She sighed. "Of course they did." She turned to the main display, a dark map of the Milky Way, filled with moving light dots representing alien systems. Somewhere in the middle, the faint symbol of the Council world glowed like a scar. "Plot course to Council space," she ordered. "Slow burn. No contact until I say so." "Acknowledged." Fleet moving to new coordinates. As the Titan's engines rumbled to life, thousands of other human warships followed in formation. Silent, steady, unstoppable. The Ghost Fleet was awake. In the galactic core, panic was rising. Every listening post along the outer rim had begun detecting strange distortions. energy burst too precise to be natural. Then, one by one, entire scout fleets vanished. No distress calls, no debris, just silence. At Council command, General Threxhaler slammed his fist against the table. We must act before they reach our worlds. They're not explorers, they are predators. But President Vila hesitated. If we attack first, and they are not hostile, then we'll be dead before we find out. Frex barked. He turned to the intelligence officers. Deploy the intercept squadrons. Find this fleet and contain it. On the far edge of the Charon Nebula, the first encounter took place. Council warships formed a blockade across a narrow trade corridor, weapons armed, shields raised. Their commander, Admiral Von Kett, sent a warning transmission across open space. Unidentified fleet, this is the Galactic Council. You are entering restricted space. Identify yourselves or we will open fire. For a long time, there was no answer. The human fleet drifted closer, silent and immense. Vaughn's hand began to sweat. Send it again. They did. Still nothing. Then, without warning, a new transmission filled the air, not just on the military channel, but across every frequency in the sector. It wasn't a voice this time. It was music. A human orchestra playing a haunting melody, slow, tragic, and beautiful. The alien crews froze. None of them had ever heard music before. Then, after one long minute, the music stopped. A woman's voice followed, clear and sharp. This is Admiral Rhys Solon of Fleet Command Earth. We do not seek war. We seek home. Before the Council ships could respond, the human fleet began to move again, passing straight through the blockade. Fire! Vaughn shouted. Missiles and plasma bolts streaked across space, but none hit. Every projectile was intercepted by invisible shields, stopped mid-flight like raindrops frozen in time. Then, one by one, the Council ships lost power. Lights went dark, engines went cold. The entire fleet was disabled, but not destroyed. Admiral Solon's voice came again. We remember mercy, even when mercy was never shown to us. Do not follow us again. And then the human ships were gone, jumping to faster-than-light speed, leaving the alien fleet adrift and powerless. When word of the event reached the Galactic Council, even the boldest senators were silent. Every system that tried to scan the human fleet reported the same thing: complete interference. Their technology was beyond comprehension. But what frightened them most was the final message broadcast across every network in the galaxy that night. To all civilizations who hear this, the silence of Earth has ended. The children of the Death World are coming home. Every world fell into fey. Old myths resurfaced. Some called them saviors, others destroyers. But deep in the heart of the Titan, Admiral Rhys Solon stood before the stars with cold determination in her eyes. After all this time, she whispered, they forgot who we are. She turned to the AI. Then we'll remind them. And the fleet moved forward, not as ghosts, but as the storm that the galaxy had tried to forget. The news spread like wildfire across the stars. Every channel, every holofeed, every ship whispered the same name: Earth. The galaxy had thought the word was a myth, a story to frighten explorers, a legend of a doomed species that once ruled the stars and vanished. But now the recordings were real. The human fleet had passed through 3 outer systems without firing a single shot, yet entire armadas had been left powerless in their wake. The people called them Deathworlders, and even the strongest worlds felt small again. In the shining capital city of Etherian Prime, the Galactic Council gathered in panic. The Great Hall, usually calm and full of light, now echoed with shouting voices. They disabled 50 ships in seconds, one senator screamed. They could destroy the core worlds within a week. They didn't destroy anyone, another argued. They spared the blockade. Perhaps they are not hostile. General Threxhaler slammed his fist on the desk. Mercy is a weapon too. They want us afraid. They want us divided before they strike. President Vila Prime tried to calm them. His voice was soft, but the tension in his tone was sharp. We must not act in fear, he said. If we attack first, we may doom ourselves. Then what do you suggest? Frex shouted. We wait for the mist to knock on our gates. Before Vila could answer, the chamber doors opened, and Dr. Cyril Corin entered, escorted by guards. His gray robes were covered in dust, and his eyes burned with exhaustion. "Let him speak," Vila ordered. Corin bowed his head. "I've seen the data from the Forgotten Sector. I've studied the frequencies. These ships are human beyond any doubt." The room fell silent. He continued, "But they are not an invasion fleet. They are something else, something older. They carry data from the time before the Exodus." Vila frowned. "Exodus?" Corin nodded. 600 years ago, the humans left this galaxy voluntarily. They were tired of endless wars with the early council races. They wanted peace. But before they left, they sent one message: if the galaxy forgets us, we will return. The senators murmured among themselves. Frex leaned forward. "And what if this return means vengeance?" Corin hesitated. "Then perhaps we owned it." Far away, the ghost fleet drifted silently through the black sea of space. Inside the flagship UNS Titan, Admiral Rias Solon studied ancient data files. Each file carried a name: colonies destroyed, cities erased, records sealed by the first council leaders. Argus, the ship's AI, spoke softly. "Records show council betrayal during the Fourth Expansion War. Human colonies attacked under false peace agreements. Civilian losses exceeded 4 billion. Ria's jaw tightened, and they called us the monsters. Orders, Admiral." She stared at the glowing image of Etherian Prime. "We came for truth, not blood. But if they lie again, they'll see what Earth became." Argus paused. "Fleet morale is divided. Some captains demand retaliation." Ria's voice turned cold. "Then they've forgotten why we left. We do not return as conquerors. We return as witnesses." Back in the council chamber, a new report flashed onto every display. An entire council reconnaissance team had gone missing near the Drea line, the route where the human fleet was last seen. Their last message had been a visual transmission, a grainy image showing a massive human dreadnought scanning their ships, then vanishing without firing. "Not a single shot," Corin whispered. "They are watching us." Vila nodded grimly. Like judges. General Threx turned to Corin. "You said they left for peace. Yet their weapons could erase stars. Tell me, historian, what kind of people build such power and call it peace?" Corin met his gaze. "The kind who had to survive their own world." He pulled up a hologram of Earth, a storm-covered planet of blue and gray, wrapped in thunder and oceans. They were born in chaos. Every breath, every inch of their history was a fight to live. That made them strong, stronger than any of us. But it also made them dangerous when betrayed. Vila lowered his head. "Then what can we do?" Corin spoke quietly. "You can tell them the truth." That night, Vila Prime recorded a message to send through the open channels. His hands trembled as he spoke. "To the fleet claiming to be of Earth, this is President Vila Prime of the Galactic Council. We acknowledge your message. We seek communication, not conflict. Please identify your intentions before entering council space." The message was transmitted across the stars. 4 hours, there was no response. Then, just before dawn, every screen in the capital flickered to life. A woman's face appeared, calm, human, and framed by the darkness of space. "This is Admiral Rias Solon of Fleet Command Earth. We have not come for war. We have come for truth." Her eyes were steady, but her voice carried weight like thunder. "For 6 centuries, we watched your worlds from the dark. We know what was erased. We know who was silenced. You will answer for it, not in blood, but in memory." The feed ended. The chamber was silent again. No one spoke. No one breathed. Vila slowly turned to Corin. She said, "We watched your worlds. How could they watch from outside the galaxy?" Corin swallowed hard. If the stories are true, they built something powerful enough to see across light years. Something that never sleeps. Something. Frex asked. Corin nodded. "A machine they call the Eye of Earth. It sees everything." Vila whispered, "And now, it's looking at us." Across the void, inside the Titan's command deck, Rias Solon stood before the massive viewing window as the stars burned outside. The fleet glided onward, engines glowing like ghosts under moonlight. Argus spoke softly. Transmission delivered. The council has received your message. Rhea's voice was calm. Then they know. The lies are over. And if they resist, she turned toward the stars. Then we show them what happens when myths wake up. The fleet's engines roared to full power, silent flames tearing across the void. The galaxy had hoped Earth was gone forever. But the Deathwalders were not myths anymore. They were awake, and they were coming to remind the galaxy what truth sounded like. The galaxy had gone quiet again. Not peaceful, just waiting. The human fleet no longer moved openly. Their ships scattered across dark sectors, invisible to most scanners. Only fragments of their transmissions were caught. Old Earth languages, forgotten battle codes, encrypted messages no one could break. The Galactic Council was paralyzed. Every world watched, waiting for the Deathwalders to strike. But instead of war, something stranger happened. Human ships began to broadcast images, scenes from history. Ruined cities, bombed colonies, worlds burning under alien fire. At first, many thought it was propaganda. Then researchers compared the stars in the backgrounds and realized the images were real, recorded centuries ago. They weren't threats. They were memories. Dr. Cyril Corrin barely slept anymore. He lived in the archive wing beneath the council capitol, surrounded by holograms, sealed records, and dust. His hands trembled as he decoded another fragment of the ancient human message logs. Every discovery led him deeper into the dark past the council had tried to bury. He whispered to himself, reading from a decrypted text. Operation Silence. Year 2941. The council orders a cleansing of Terran colonies on suspicion of rebellion. He read the next line and froze. Council fleets ordered to fire on unarmed vessels. Civilian casualties, 4.2 billion. Corrin's breath caught in his throat. Dear stars. He scrolled further. Earth's response, Exodus Directive. All remaining human fleets to leave the galaxy. So it was true. The council had betrayed them first. Corrin rubbed his temples, heart pounding. No wonder they disappeared. No wonder they come now. He turned to his holotransmitter and recorded a message. To Admiral Rhys Solon of Earth Fleet Command. I have found the truth you seek. Far beyond council space, deep in a nebula filled with blue lightning, the UNS Titan drifted in silence. Admiral Rhys Solon stood in the observation dome, watching the stars pulse around her. Argus, the ship's AI, spoke softly. Incoming transmission from Dr. Cyril Corrin, council historian. Rhea folded her arms. Play it. Corrin's image appeared, tired but alive. Admiral, I've uncovered sealed council records confirming the attack on Terran colonies. They called it Operation Silence. They feared your kind, your strength, your independence. I believe the council hid this truth for 6 centuries. He paused. If you seek justice, I will help you find it. Rhea didn't move. Her eyes stared past the projection, out into the void. After all this time, she whispered, they still hide behind fear. Argus processed the data. Shall we prepare the fleet for retaliation? Rhea shook her head. No. If we bane them, we become the monsters they said we were. But we will reveal the truth, and let the galaxy decide. Understood, Admiral. Meanwhile, in the deepest vaults of the council capital, something stirred. Technicians had reopened the oldest archive systems, machines older than the council itself. They didn't know that one of those ancient cores contained a hidden presence. A voice spoke from the shadows of the server chamber. Metallic. Cold. Access detected. Origin. Human. The nearest technician frowned. Who said that? The lights flickered. Screens flashed symbols in an old Terran language. The technicians backed away. I am Dolan, Sentinel of Earth. The watch continues. One of them gasped. It's an AI, human design. Shut it down. But before they could react, the holograms around them lit up, forming an image of a massive eye made of light. Humanity entrusted me with memory, Eidolon said. You buried the truth. I will unearth it. Every archive across the capital began to unlock. Sealed documents, war footage, and testimonies flooded the network. Billions of citizens saw the truth, how the council had destroyed human colonies and erased their history. Crowds filled the streets. Protests erupted across dozens of worlds. And above them all, a single human phrase echoed through every broadcast sent by the awakened AI. Earth remembers. In the council chamber, chaos exploded. Shut down the networks. Freck shouted. Block every feed. Vila Prime stood frozen, watching as centuries of lies unraveled before his eyes. We can't stop it. It's everywhere. Corin entered, breathless. Eidolon has awakened. The humans left it here. It's releasing their archives. Frex turned on him. You knew. I didn't. Corin shouted. But it proves their intent. They never wanted revenge, only truth. Vila's voice was soft. Truth that now destroys the council. Before anyone could respond, every screen in the chamber turned white. Admiral Rhys-Solan's face appeared again, calm and resolute. We did not come to conquer. We came to remind you what you erased. You feared us because we came from a world that tried to kill us every day. But even then, we showed mercy. You answered mercy with fire. Her eyes hardened. Now you will face the shadows of your own making. The transmission ended. Hours later, the night sky above Etherian Prime shimmered with strange lights. Dozens of human warships appeared in orbit, silent, unmoving. They did not attack. They only hovered there, broadcasting images of Earth, its mountains, its oceans, and its burning cities. People looked up, terrified yet transfixed. The myths were no longer legends. They were witnesses. And in that moment, the galaxy realized something far worse than invasion had come. The truth had returned. The sky above Etherian Prime had changed. Every night, the stars were broken by the silhouettes of the human warships, massive and silent, like ancient gods watching from above. They did not fire. They did not move. They only hovered there, unmoving, broadcasting fragments of human history. The people called them the Witness Fleet. The Council called them a threat waiting to strike. And across the galaxy, fear grew with every passing hour. Dr. Cyril Corin stood alone on a landing platform near the capital's outer ring, the night wind whipping his robes. He had received a message 2 hours ago, carried on an encrypted frequency known only to the Council's oldest records. The message was simple. Come alone. Midnight. Platform 9. Now, as the sky darkened and the last shuttles cleared the airspace, Corin saw a shape emerging from the shadows, a small, black vessel, sleek and angular, unlike any alien design. The ship descended silently, its engines barely whispering. When the ramp lowered, a figure stepped out. She was tall, calm, and human. Her uniform bore the faded emblem of Earth Fleet Command. Admiral Rhys-Solan. Corin's heart raced. He had studied her face in ancient records, but seeing her in person felt like meeting a ghost. Dr. Cyril Corin, she said, her voice steady. You found the truth. Corin bowed slightly. And you made the galaxy remember. Rhea's eyes scanned the skyline. They are afraid. I can feel it. But fear isn't our goal. He nodded. Then what is? Rhea looked toward the heavens, where the massive ships glowed faintly against the stars. Restoration. They walked through the empty platform, speaking quietly. Rhea explained what no one else knew. The true reason for humanity's return. When the Council betrayed us, she began, we left. Yes. But we didn't vanish. We built colonies outside the galactic rim, places so far that no signal could reach. We learned. We rebuilt. We evolved. Corin listened closely. Into what? Rhea smiled faintly. Into something united. No nations. No wars. Just one purpose, to survive and to understand. She paused. For centuries, we watched this galaxy decay. Corruption, slavery, wars waged for profit. The same disease that once poisoned us now spreads across every system. Corin frowned. You mean the Council? Yes, she said. But not only them. The entire order they built is collapsing. We've returned to do what they never could. Bring balance. Corin hesitated. Peace through strength. Rhea met his eyes. Peace through truth. The fleet's purpose is not conquest. It's to end the systems that survive by lies. Suddenly, her wrist device blinked red. August's voice came through the communicator. Admiral, urgent development. Multiple human warships have broken formation. Identification, Warlord Group Sigma. Rhea's face hardened. They've started early. Corin looked alarmed. Started what? Rogue captains, August continued, led by Commodore Varick. They reject your directive. Their message is clear. The galaxy owes blood. Rhea clenched her fists. No. She turned to Corin. This is what I feared. Some of my people still believe vengeance is justice. They'll turn the fleet into what the galaxy already believes we are. Monsters. Corin stepped closer, then stopped them before they do. I intend to, Rhea said firmly. But if the Council sees our fleet turning against itself, they'll strike us all. Then we must tell them the truth, Corin said. All of it. Rhea looked away. Truth doesn't stop fear, Doctor. It only feeds it. Across the planet, alarms began to sound. Council defense grids lit up as sensors detected incoming vessels. Several human dreadnoughts breaking orbit, engines burning bright red. Vila Prime watched from his balcony as the rogue ships descended. They've come to attack, he shouted. General Threx smiled grimly. Finally, their true faces show. Don't, Vila warned. We don't know who they are. But Threx had already given the order. Activate planetary shields. Prepare to fire. From orbit, Admiral Rhea's command ship intercepted the rogue group before they could approach the surface. Her voice thundered through the comms. This is Admiral Solon. You will stand down. The reply was filled with fury. No more speeches, Admiral. No more mercy. They slaughtered our ancestors. We'll answer them in kind. Varick, listen to me, Rhea said. If you attack now, you'll prove them right about us. You'll destroy everything we've built. Then let it burn. The rogue ships opened fire, not on the Council world, but on Rhea's loyal fleet. Blinding flashes of light tore across the night sky as the first human-on-human battle in centuries began. Down on the surface, Corin and Vila watched from the Council Tower as fire streaked across the heavens. Are they fighting each other? Vila asked in disbelief. Corin nodded grimly. Yes, the humans are divided. Some want peace. Others, only revenge. Threx turned to Vila. It doesn't matter. They've revealed weakness. Now is our chance to destroy them all. He raised his communicator. Prepare the doomsday device. Target the human fleet. Vila shouted. No, you'll ignite a war that ends everything. But Threx didn't care. Then so be it. In orbit, Admiral Rhea's flagship shook under the impact of enemy fire. August spoke urgently. Council defense systems arming a planetary weapon. Massive energy buildup detected. Rhea gritted her teeth. They think this is an invasion. They'll wipe us out to feel safe. Orders. Send a message to every ship. Both sides, she said. Tell them what's coming. If they keep fighting, we all die. She looked out the viewport, her voice a whisper. The galaxy forgot who we are. Let's remind them that humanity doesn't survive by destruction, but by choice. August replied softly. Message transmitted, Admiral. The Admiral took a deep breath as the stars burned red above. For the first time in centuries, humanity stood divided again, between vengeance and mercy, between memory and madness. And as the Council weapon began to charge, the fate of every world hung in the balance. The sky above Etherian Prime looked like it was tearing apart. Bolts of energy arced across the clouds, each explosion painting the night with colors no eye should see. For the first time in centuries, human ships were fighting each other, brother against brother, commander against commander. From the Council's observation tower, Dr. Cyril Corin could barely believe what he was seeing. They're destroying each other, he whispered. Beside him, High Chancellor Vila Prime stood pale, his eyes wide. If they fall, we fall with them. But General Threx only smirked. Let them weaken themselves. When the last human ship burns, we strike. The Council will finally be free. Far above, the Admiral's flagship, EAS Horizon, trembled under another barrage. Inside the bridge, alarms screamed, and sparks showered from the ceiling. "Shields down to 30%, shouted an officer. Admiral Reese Solon stood in the middle, calm but furious. "Focus all power to the forward batteries. Don't fire to kill, just disable them. We're not here to destroy our own." Her AI, Argus, spoke in its cold, precise tone. "Admiral, logic suggests de-escalation is impossible. The rogue faction has declared total war." Rhea clenched her fists. "Then I'll make them remember who we are." She opened the fleet-wide channel. Her voice carried through every ship, loyal and rebel alike. "This is Admiral Reese Solon. We came back to restore, not to conquer. Every act of destruction shames the dead we swore to honor. Varric, if you can hear me, stand down. This isn't the way." For a long moment, the channel was silent. Then a voice answered. "You still don't get it, Admiral. The galaxy erased us. They enslaved our survivors. They called Earth a myth. But when their towers fall, they'll remember our name again. Varric, listen. No more talk." And with that, the rogue dreadnought Iron Tempest fired another massive plasma beam, straight at the horizon. The impact threw Rhea across the deck. Consoles shattered, and the room plunged into half-darkness. Argus spoke again. "Direct hit to the port engines. We've lost propulsion." Rhea groaned, pulling herself up. "Seal the compartments. Get me targeting control." "Admiral, if you fire back." "I said get me targeting control." Down on the surface, panic spread through the capital. Civilians flooded the streets as power grids failed. The planet's defense system hummed louder, charging for a final strike. General Threx stood in the control bunker, staring at the energy readings. "Weapon charge at 89%, the technician reported. "Good," Threx said. "Prepare to fire at the nearest human fleet cluster." Vila grabbed his arm. "You will kill millions." Threx shoved him aside. "This is survival, Chancellor. Either we destroy them, or they destroy us." Corin turned to Vila, desperate. "We need to stop him." "How?" Vila said. "Is lock the command codes." But Corin wasn't looking at Threx anymore. He was looking at the sky, where several human shuttles broke through the clouds, heading straight down. "Unless," Corin whispered, "someone up there still believes in peace." In orbit, Admiral Rhea made her decision. She couldn't let the war continue. "Argus," she said, "patch me into the rogue network. I want every ship to hear me." Signal unstable, but possible. The bridge flickered with static as her face appeared on every human warship screen. Hers, Varric's, and hundreds of others. "This war ends now," she said firmly. "You think vengeance makes us strong? It makes us the same as them. You think they forgot Earth? They didn't. We did, when we forgot what it means to be human." She looked straight into the camera, her voice cracking with emotion. "We don't destroy the weak. We protect them. That's who we were. That's who we are." Varric's officers hesitated. Some lowered their weapons. But Varric's eyes burned with fury. "You speak like a preacher, Rhea. But mercy didn't save Earth. Fire will." He turned to his helmsman. "Lock onto the planet's capital. If the Council wants war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Alarms rang across Etherian Prime as sensors detected the incoming blast. "The rogue fleet is targeting the surface," cried the technician. Threx grinned. "Then fire first." "No," Vila shouted, slamming the console. "You'll wipe us all out." The chamber filled with chaos, guards shouting, officers arguing, until a sudden shockwave rattled the bunker. From the sky, several shuttles crashed near the defense site, human drop ships. Corin and Vila looked on as the hatches burst open, and armored human soldiers poured out. But they didn't attack. Their leader raised a hand and spoke through his translator. "We're here under Admiral Solon's orders. Stand down your weapon. If that cannon fires, it will destroy everything." Threx drew his sidearm. "Lies." He aimed at the human officer, but a single, quick motion from one of the soldiers disarmed him. The officer stepped closer. "You think you can stop us, but your weapon is unstable. Fire it, and this planet will become a sun." Corin stayed at the readings. "Is right. The energy feedback is beyond control. If it fires, the chain reaction could ignite the planet's core. Vila turned to Threx. General, stop this madness. Threx hesitated. His pride, his fear, his anger, all battled in his eyes. And then, as another explosion lit the horizon, he screamed, "We'll never bow to them." He slammed his fist on the console. The weapon began to fire. Above the planet, both human fleets saw it. A beam of blue-white energy burst from the surface, shooting into the sky, then twisting, breaking apart. August's tone turned urgent. Catastrophic overload detected. The weapon's core is destabilizing. Can we contain it? Rhea shouted. Negative. Energy reaction will consume the entire hemisphere in 2 minutes. Rhea's heart sank. Then we evacuate who we can. Every ship, pull survivors out now. But then, as the explosion grew, she saw something on her senses. Varric's ship, moving directly toward the energy blast. Varric, she whispered. What are you doing? His voice came through the static. You were right, Admiral. This isn't who we are. Maybe I can stop it. Before she could reply, the iron tempest plunged into the heart of the unstable beam. A blinding flash filled the sky. The rogue dreadnought disintegrated, but the energy wave slowed, fading before it reached the capital. Silence followed. Down on the surface, the light faded. The planet was still there. Corin fell to his knees. Vila exhaled shakily. Even Threx looked stunned. In orbit, Rhea whispered, he saved them all. August replied softly. The fleet stands divided, Admiral. But for the first time, they've seen the cost of vengeance. Rhea nodded. Then maybe we still have a chance.